Hello, this is Banana Gaming and Toys, and today I'll be reviewing the Jordan 35s. Last time I remember doing a shoe review, I reviewed my favorite Jordan 36s, which are my actual game shoes, and I play with them for tournaments and to practices, and yeah, because I do enjoy the shoes a lot. Because there's many things about the shoe that were really good. But my dad has decided to get the Jordan 35s. Even though I say that they're pretty bad, but he says that they're not. So let's see if he's true. Tell the truth or not. Oh my god, meet your soulmates. Funny pun. Alright. Taking it out of the box, I'm pretty sure this is not your regular average day box. Here's the authentic out. This thing. So, looking at this box, this is the Air Jordan 35. I think it's Zion's shoe. Zion Williamson's, I forgot the name, I think it's like Bayou something. Bayou Boys, yes. So, I think this is like for design, but there's like a bunch of little holes in the box and like with like thin, clear, see-through plastic on the other side. And also this box looks like it opens weirdly because I can see that there's a double page opening, so that means it probably opens like this. So yeah, let me test that. Yes, I'm right. It opens like this. So yeah. It kind of opens like one of those, it opens like a barbecue, yeah. So, I'll just fold this downwards. Yeah, this box is kind of hard to use, but I'll just flip it like this. So this is your first look at the shoe. It's actually a pretty nice colorway because the first time I saw the 35s, the first colorway I saw was terrible. Like it kind of reminded me like when you're just like making like a 3D render or something, and like you see the polygons. It's kind of what that old colorway. But for the Zion Williamson shoes, it's actually pretty clean. I like the white and the green. They mix pretty well. So let's take one shoe out first. Oh, cool. So with the shoe, they decided to like include this thin ribbon that like kind of represents the marsh because the shoe is called the Bayou Boys. And then we have the Go Verified, yeah, for the tag. It's a pretty nice colorway, and also we have a little foam piece here so the tag doesn't get folded or anything. Really nice clips plate looking. It looks really cool. And yeah, and then we'll just grab the other one for comparison. Smells like America. Now, for first looks of this thing, like when I brought it out of the box, this large plate made me think it was like a pretty heavy, like maybe a center shoe, because this plate makes it look clunky and all, but now like when I'm holding it, it's really comparable to the Jordan 36s. And like the 36s are made like a full leno-weave. I can just grab it from my sports bag right here. Like, so here's my 36s that I use. Oh, that's my water bottle. And then you can see that like this thing's a full like mesh across the whole entire thing. And meanwhile, this is just like leather with like this cool texture. I'm not sure if it's a texture. I think it is. It's how they built it. I'm just gonna put it right here. Like this cool texture. This like iridescent plate that kind of reminds me of the iridescent on the front of this shoe, which looks about the same except it's a white instead of like, I'm pretty sure they had like a purplish tint to the last one. This one is just like a whitish. If we can just take, I'll just take off this foam bit for now. And then we have the tag, the Air Jordan. On the other side of Jen, I'm pretty sure it said Jordan, but for this one it says Bayou because of Zion Williamson edition. I'll bring the other one up. We can check the other one too. Yeah, it says Bayou Boys. So yeah, for the original shoe, I think it said Air here and then Jordan, but for this one it says Bayou and Boys. Now, looking on the inside of it, like just from here, I don't see much ventilation at all. And also, I can see that I can kind of see the exposed little pods of air. I'm not sure what type of air this is. Just zoom air zoom. 2 of them it looks like. I'm not sure if there's a full length. I'm pretty sure there isn't, or still it'll be comparable to this type of jump. But like, the first thing I really saw is just like how, like, the uniqueness of this just like little tread here. Because on all shoes it's generally just a one-way design going upwards, while on this one it's pretty thin, a really thin zoom, like herringbone type design, except it's really stretched out. But it goes in generally all directions, like a serrated knife kinda. And then there's 2 dots here and 3, so it's like 23. Green Jumpman. Pretty cool design. But like, there's just a downside to this shoe, and looks like it's just that those things are really thin. The plastic by itself is pretty dense, but like, those are really thin grooves. Like, even for this shoe, as you can see, I played with it a bit. On the front of, I think it's my right, no, this is my right foot, I use my left often. On my left foot, I gently ripped up, like for the first few practice, I was like leaving the plastic bits on the floor because I was ripping through the front. Like, see, it's just completely gone. Because I'm a guard and I'm using this shoe, which is, I think, a power forward shoe. So yeah, that part's generally gone. And I feel like on this shoe, if you're not careful, you might just completely get rid of this section, so there might not be as much grip. But again, this is when it's like, this is when I'm a guard and I'm just like doing short stops on the front and like rotating my feet around it. But on this one, because the thing with the Jordan 36s, there was this little extra pad around the full length air shoulder unit. There's another air, I made it slightly off balance, but like after I've worn my way through this shoe, it doesn't really matter because like I kind of flattened it out. But this one's a really flat design, nice curve here. Oh yeah, there's a little thing in here, so I can't really bend it. But it's pretty flat curve here. Pretty decently hard foam. Like, this one's a soft foam. This is like some really hard. It might just be I'm touching the cardboard. Yeah, just touching the cardboard. I don't want to remove it since my dad is going to be wearing this for his little games and stuff. So I don't want to actually ruin or stain the shoe by accident. So I won't actually remove that for now. But the overall like aesthetic of this shoe is pretty good compared to this one. Like a good colorway. I like the white contrasting with the light green on here, and the full Eclipse plate looks pretty good with this colorway. And I also like that they threw on they turned the Jumpman green. And also the leather they use is like, kind of looks like when you like throw something, it's like kind of crippled or dried out, like completely dried out, and it's a pretty good design because it kind of reminds me of a crocodile. No, I kind of feel, there's these 2 really large, I guess I can just call them pillows on the inside of this, so that'll be pretty good comfort. But again, I feel like just as a guard as a whole, like, from how my ankle's built, this could be pretty painful. Like, just when you land down on your foot after a rebound, hit this, and your ankle's like going upwards, and you just go and just drive straight into this. This will be really painful if you're not careful with that. So you gotta keep a heads up on that, just looking at this from now. Because for my Jordans, a completely flat fit, so I don't have to worry about that. Ventilation wise, you might not get as much ventilation from the Jordan 36s as well. It seems like there's really no access to air inside the shoe at all. Like, it's pretty dark, so there's no light coming in. But yeah, I could be wrong, and it could be a pretty breathable shoe. But it's pretty wide base, so yeah, I like it. I'm not gonna plan these things, so I won't give an exact review about how these shoes work like this one. Like, in a few weeks I'm gonna do a complete review about how these shoes work and what to do with it, like what type of socks to wear, the full review of this thing, like a complete breakdown, because I've worn this thing for a pretty long time, as you can see from the courts in Vancouver and the school courts I'm playing on, high school courts. This is really dusty. Like, it changed the color of the bottom of the shoe. It's like complete. It was once like this type of color. Now it's like a brownish gray, because they've been used. But this thing's fairly new, and it looks like the grip is a little bit lower to the ground, so sweeping it's going to be pretty easy. You can just get, I think, like 1 or 2 swipes, because like you can probably get your finger, like, even if you need to, get a wet cloth and like get it inside those grooves, so you don't have to worry about dust forming. So I feel like for dusty courts, this would be a pretty good option to wear. For games, yeah, it's all probably going to have a pretty good bite at the front. I'm just worried, if you're a guard, I don't recommend wearing the shoe at all. It's just a bit big for like what regular guards are. Yeah, again, I'm a point guard. I'm wearing a power small forward-ish shoe. Like, I don't really worry about that, because there is some grip coming up to this short corner, but the way I play is I generally use the front of my foot to stop, so I don't really have to use this. That's why I never get Kyrie's, almost never. I don't really wear that type of shoe. And for this one, it doesn't come over. Instead, you have this flat piece of foamage from the midsole to cover your tracks. But I like that the foam on here is a bit bigger. Kind of shows where the midsole ends. But this shoe is pretty low to the ground. I really do like the close plate being able to see completely through it, compared to this thing where you just got this tiny little gap with this plastic fiber plate. I'm not sure what material that is anymore. I kind of forgot from the last review. It's pretty wide base, almost the same to the Jordan 36s. So if you have a really wide foot like me, I recommend getting like a half a size bigger. But like, if you have a narrow foot, yeah, you can just go through the size and just keep it the same to about what your size. If you have a really small foot, you might just want to maybe not get this shoe if you have a really small foot, because I'm not sure this shoe is the best for you, because it's a really wide fit. Like, it doesn't really squeeze in at the middle, so if you're not careful, the middle of your foot can move, and you can start actually jabbing into your side of your foot here. Like, here, this ball. I think it's just like a bone here. And like, I've been dealing with that when I used to wear like a pair of Kyrie with this blue, like a blue Kyrie with a strap. Used to deal with a problem where like, after games, this side would be completely burned, because it held here, but it didn't hold there. There's like a little bit of space, so if I do the crossover, my whole entire foot would move, and then when I'm pushing, it will slice. So like, I would deal with this part always being ripped, like almost bleeding sometimes. And you might just deal with that, because as you can see, this thing is not movable. So if your side of your foot hits this, you're gonna have a problem when you're moving. Let's say you cross like this, I don't know, you do a frontal crossover, side crossover, hesitation, I don't know. you like land here. Your foot moves this way a bit because there's a tiny bit of space. And then when you push forward, your foot moves a slightly bit back. It'll make that chainsaw motion. Like it'll just start sawing at your foot. I'm not sure you have that problem with the inside of the foot. I don't think. Yeah, it's pretty good on the inside. Like there's foam there, so I'm not sure you're gonna rip up the inside of your foot. But on the outside of your foot, that's a problem. But this tongue is pretty good. Yeah, you can stretch it out pretty wide, so it's going to be pretty easy to get your foot into it. On the 36s, it's about the same. And then they're using the same internal lacing system as this one, which is a pretty relevant thing. I'm still not sure what this thing is. The Go Verify color, shape, material structure. Oh, it's just a complete authentication of the shoe. But again, if you want to like review this, you just don't mind the color of it. You can get how many colors as you want because there's a lot of them. Because when you're looking at the shoe at first, the original colorway, it's like junk. I don't recommend getting that colorway at all. Like if you can get a white pair of this thing or like something like that, yeah, it looks good. And so you can if you really wanted to throw this shoe out at a rock or something, yeah, you can probably wear it outdoors to play, but it won't last long. Looking at how low the grip is, and knowing a herringbone pattern, it's going to start ripping at the front immediately. Like the little points at it, it's going to rip off first, and then the sides are going to come off, and then eventually you're going to start ripping here, because once you don't have this, the first thing your shoe moves to is that side, then you push. So you're going to have a slightly delayed response after a while. But that doesn't really matter as long as you're on not a dusty court. It's going to have a pretty good response looking at the shoe, because there is an angle, there's pretty much this straight angle here, which will help with the sliding. But if you're using this shoe, I'm pretty sure it's like a center shoe, a power forward shoe, or somebody that needs a lot of jump. But the arch support is going to be pretty good on it, too. So, I was just informed that on every single pair of shoes for the Zion, with the smoke effect, the clips plate is different for every single pair. So if you want a unique shoe, you got it. Your clips plate will be completely different. Because as you compare, this thing is different from this. Like it has a light green spark here near this, near the little. I'm not sure how to read Morse code, so I won't even decode that. Come on near the little. I guess it probably says 23 or something in like binary. But on this one it's different because near that like binary looking thing, there is not that green swirl. Instead it's blackish faded downwards into the shoe. So, final review for the Jordan 35s is that it's a pretty good shoe if you're if you're a heavy player. You will have a great time with these shoes. If you have a very narrow footing, you might not want to use these because you might lose some skin on the side push if you're guard, because when you land, there's space, you hit, and then you move forward or try doing any forward and back movement, you will scrape skin off your side of your foot. On the inside, I'm not sure. There looks like there's padding, but again, the insole of this thing, is a bit sharp there, but it kind of rolls upwards, so it looks like the arrow's been fixed. Because I haven't worn these shoes, so I don't really know if he's gonna like serrate your foot to death, like a lot of other shoes I've worn before. But yeah, the bite on these things is gonna be amazing. I don't recommend playing on outdoors at all because firstly, you're literally ripping off like, I think like 5 cents of the shoe every single jab you do. So yeah, you're burning at the price. And also if you're going to get the Zion Williamson, but I don't recommend really over wearing it because, well, this clip plate is one of a kind. Any other thing, yeah, you can do whatever you want to it, but the Zions, you don't want to do that. So overall, out of a score of 10, comparing to previous shoes I've ever worn, again, you might want to take that with a grain of salt because I'm a guard, so I've worn guard shoes. The Jordan 36 being like a small exception, being a small forward shoe. So, out of 10, I would give this shoe like an 8.7, 8.8. There's small things that they could have done with this shoe to make it a bit more effective on the court. Looking at it right now, I haven't worn them. Looking at it, it looks like if you have really sweaty feet, you're gonna have a miserable time with these shoes because it looks like it's gonna be a sauna for your feet. But you can easily revert that problem by wearing any NBA favorite socks or basketball socks, those really thick puffy socks. But personally, I don't really enjoy wearing those puffy socks. That's why I decided to get this shoe that has leno-weave, which makes it literally see-through, and you can see it's kind of contorted to my feet size, so it's kind of pushed downwards. So, and oh yeah, talking about contorting to your foot, I'm not sure about it, but looking at this and how the plastic, how high this midsole is compared to any other shoe, because looking at where the actual sole is and looking at where the midsole is, it might take 5-6 games to break into this thing completely. And also, yeah, it's made of metal leather if you want to go old school with it. This type of leather might leave a lot of little dust particles on a cord because it's gonna fall apart. It looks like it's gonna fall apart. I think this little wiring here is called flight wire, which is just Nike's fly wire, except kind of remodeled, just copy and paste it and thrown with a different name. Sounds a bit better though. But overall, I gave this shoe an 8.9. Take that with a grain of salt. If you're a power forward, just give it an extra 0.5, and yeah, that's about your final score because I'm a guard. So looking at this shoe, I'm just it kind of sets off a couple alarms when it comes to certain things, but those are not things a guard should be worried about because a guard would not buy a power forward or a center shoe because they are not insane. Overall, this has been Arguing in Toys, and this is Design Williamson edition Bayou Boys Jordan 35 review. I'm out. This box out of the way.